All right, folks, we are back. The second season of the Wolverine Maniac. It's Christmas Day here for us Big Ten fans. Super excited about it. Michigan's starting off against the Golden Gophers tonight in prime time. The national spotlight, ABC, 7:30 tonight, baby. I'm just happy that the Big Ten's actually playing. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that college football was going to be playing because of COVID. But especially if you asked me a couple months ago, but here we are, and it's starting tonight, baby. So it's going to be awesome. I know everybody's probably super excited out there. Especially, we got Joe Milton starting quarterback. Um, I'm sure we've all heard of that. McCaffrey's gone, transferring out. And if you follow Michigan closely, or even just a little bit, sure you heard of Milton being 6'5", 243. He's pretty much got an RPG attached to his shoulder. It's just, launching football 70 yards, comparisons to Cam Newton. It's hard to not be excited for the guy, honestly. But I'm not buying into the hype yet. But I do think that he can really excel in this offense that Josh Gaddis is implementing here, especially for the second year. We should see this offense be a lot better this year. At least I'm hoping so. If they come out flat, it's going to be pretty upsetting tonight, you know. Um, but I know Milton works super, super hard. Um, like Shea last year, I know Gaddis made a comment. I know I mentioned it on here that he's, spent too much time on the golf course last year, and you could really tell on the field last year that sometimes looked lost or unprepared a lot of the games. You've seen him have some good games against Michigan State, second half of the Penn State game. We need to be seeing that all the time, especially in today's college football because it's all about scoring now. It's not as much defensive oriented, but that's just the way the game is moving. So, and I know Milton didn't go home to Florida during COVID. He stayed up here, is working with the wideouts, the other pass catchers, and he seemed to earn his respect from his teammates. And I know a lot of people are really, really happy that he's the starting quarterback. So, but like I said, I don't want to hype him up too much, but it's hard to not get excited and geeked out of your minds about a guy that's got an RPG attached to his arm. I mean, it's just the way it is. He's going to be able to stretch the field. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch. He might be a little inaccurate at times, but that's just we're going to have to deal with it. He's going to be building. Hopefully, he's going to be staying next year as well. But we'll see. I'd be even more excited if Nico Collins was coming back because him and Joe Milton are pretty much like a match made in heaven, honestly. With deep balls, jump balls, everything like that. Shea wasn't able to get Nico Collins on deep balls a lot of the time last year. Just kind of had a BB gun as an arm, and it is what it is. Not to hate on the guy. He's done a lot for the program, but it was still kind of an underwhelming era for Shea under Harbaugh there, which I thought they should have benched Shea last year, especially after it's kind of hard to after the Penn State game, but the Wisconsin game they should have probably benched him a lot earlier, and just give somebody a chance to play, make up some plays. Um, it did suck with Nico Collins though as well because he's coming back for his senior season. He's going to be wearing that number 1 jersey and decided not to. It must have been for COVID reasons. I know they kept saying, oh, we're going to be playing in the spring. We're canceling the season. We're going to be playing after Thanksgiving. And I think there was just too many questions for him. And, he's got to do what's best for him and his family. And, he's definitely going to be a pro. And I think he'll be a good pro, especially when you see people like Chase Claypool excelling in the NFL right now, with the Steelers. With the Steelers always get good players and they fill them in. They got a good role for him, but I just think that Nico Collins is a little more talented than him, and someone's going to pick him up, and they're going to be happy that they did. But enough about Nico Collins. We'll get into the rest of the offense here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The offensive line's pretty young. I know Ed Warner is going to be having those guys ready. Jalen Mayfield decided to come back instead of going pro, which was huge. You need that leader on the line, get everybody ready to go, and it's gonna be interesting. The running backs, we got Charbonnet, Haskins, Blake Corum, who's starting to gain a lot of hype coming into the season. Big speedster back. Heard a lot of things about him, and we're pretty excited to watch him play, and I'm sure we're gonna see him play. And of course, we got Chris Evans coming back as well, and brings a good veteran presence. Um, some people might hate on the guy for what had happened. He got kicked off the team, but he's still a good guy, and he's going to be a good locker room guy, and he's going to be bringing a good pass catching abilities to the offense, especially in Josh Gaddis's offense. The speed and space mantra. I think he's going to be very effective in this, and this is kind of what we were missing last year. Swing routes to the running backs out of the backfield. You see a lot of these teams do this. Like little short passes, get the kids out in space and let them run, let them make a play. And you especially see this out in Alabama right now. I feel like they're kind of at the forefront. Same thing with Clemson, and look how much success they've had, really, which is, hopefully we can imitate that. And, the wideouts are a little unproven, besides maybe Ronnie Bell. I do think that Sandra Still, Giles Jackson, they could use them like Tyreek Hill, a lot of jet sweeps, motions, get that defense moving around, which will ultimately open up things for like A.J. Henning, Cornelius Johnson, Ronnie Bell over the middle. So, you just got to use their speed, and the defense has got to respect it. So I hope we see a lot of more misdirection. We used to see it in the first couple of years of Harbaugh, kind of faded away from that, but we could bring that back, and it could be really effective. Now the defense, I'll tell you what, I was worried that Cam McGrone was going to sit out this year and then go pro, and he didn't. Losing Nico Collins was a huge bummer, but then if we were lost Cam McGrone or even Aiden Hutchinson, Kwity Paye, it would have been, that just would have sucked. We need those guys. We have good players on every level on the defense. The defensive line is stacked. Paye, Aiden Hutchinson. You got Carlos Kemp back. I think Chris Hinton is going to have a good year this year. I was surprised he didn't play as much last year, especially we were getting gashed up the middle in the run game quite a bit. But, I think he's poised for a big year. Defensive backfield is definitely very young. But the defense line can kind of take some pressure off these guys, so they don't have to cover as much. You got Vincent Gray back, Dex Hill. There was rumors that he's going to be playing cornerback or safety or nickel back. He's so versatile that it's going to be awesome. You can put him anywhere, and he's going to be a great player for Michigan. I really think that he's going to be a good pro as well. I'm buying into the hype. We got Josh Ross back, him and Cam in the middle of the defense at linebacker. And I know if you've watched the podcast before, I'm a big Cam McGrone fan. He's going to be a great pro. I think he's somebody that, if you had to fill in for Devin Bush, I think Cam McGrone's that man. He just really came about last year, especially after that Wisconsin game. So it's going to be awesome. I'm also forgot to mention Donovan Jeter up there on the line as well. They're going to be pretty loaded. I'd like to see them do more of a nickel package with 4 down linemen, and have that nickel cornerback in there. But, Don Brown's going to do what Don Brown does, so, I'm not going to hate on him. But I do think that if the offense, can put up some points, I'm all for Don Brown being super, super aggressive. But I just think that you would like to have the lead to get super, super aggressive. I know he's kind of changed things up last year, wasn't running as much man, but, if you look at the percentages, I forget what they were, but they did run a lot of zone, contrary to belief to what a lot of people think, and it's going to be interesting. The Viper position is Michael Barrett, I'm sorry, and he's a good athlete, runs a 4.5, he's 220. You know how I feel about the position. I'm not a big fan of it just because I feel like it puts whoever's playing that position at disadvantage sometimes in the passing game. Um, we even had Jabril Peppers, who's one of the greatest athletes that we've ever had, struggle, but maybe he's just not that good of a cover guy in general. But it's hard to play linebacker slash. You got to cover a receiver a lot of the time. Especially if you're in man to man. Good teams see this, especially like teams like Ohio State, Penn State. They see this and they single that guy out, put their best receiver in the slot or wherever that guy's going to be guarding them, and it's just tough. So much speed, and especially in today's college game, you can barely touch people and you can't get physical, especially when they're back, you know, 8 yards off their man. I just feel like we tend to get burnt a lot with that, which I'd like to see that change within the defense here. But, there's a lot of pressure on Don Brown this year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on Don Brown. I absolutely love Don Brown. But, he's got to make some adjustments because these guys are on the hot seat right now. Now for the coaches, the head honcho, Jim Harbaugh, coming in for the 6th year. We got to start this season off right with a W. I know we haven't had a lot of time to prepare. We got a lot of new pieces. But this is such a critical year. They haven't signed him to an extension again. It's tough. I'm not saying he deserves it. I like Harbaugh. I don't think we would get somebody else that's better. But I could see the frustration with people, not getting a win against Ohio State. Pretty much just getting ran the past couple years. And, it's tough to watch. We all hate it. And I don't think anybody hates it more than Jim Harbaugh. And that's just the fact of the matter. We're going against a good coach team. PJ Fleck's going to have his guys ready. They've got the good quarterback, the receiver. I think they do have a couple of their linemen out. They have like a 400-pound lineman. I believe that actually went to Michigan, but transferred out. He's going to have his guys ready, and it's going to be a cold one as well. People are worried about Joe Milton being from Florida, not being used to the cold, and it's going to be 28 degrees up there in Minnesota today. And I don't know, I think he's going to be ready. He's been around Michigan enough to know. And, we're going to see him what swag he's got. I think he's got the confidence in himself. He's been preparing. He's been ready, baby. So it's going to be fun to watch. And, the second year of Josh Gaddis, it's going to be a big one. He's got his quarterback. I think if Milton can have a little bit more touch on his balls, having some accuracy, this guy could be a Heisman candidate. I'm not saying this year with the 8-game season, but I'm talking about for next year. We're kind of prepping it up. And maybe that's just me being a homer, being a fan, but he's got all the intangibles. If it's there mentally, which I've heard there's reports he's showing up early, talking to Don Brown about coverages. I even heard last year that he was, showing up early to the facilities, beating everybody there. And, unfortunately, he never got a shot last year, which I, probably should have, because if we were going to lose those games, we might as well just go down swinging and get somebody some good reps instead of having Shea Patterson in there that, didn't give his full effort, I don't think. Maybe towards the end of the year he kind of did, but, you got to put in the work in the off season to really be successful during the regular season. And, I think we're going to see an offense this year that was a little bit better. Well, hopefully a lot better. But I'll just take a little bit better because they started to kind of come around towards the end of last year. And, Joe Milton can stretch the field with his arm. We got some burners out wide with Sanderfield, Giles Jackson, Ronnie Bell over the middle. They're going to have some speed and space time. And, we're going to have to put up some points. We can't be having Ohio State just run us out of the building this year, which they've already threatened to put up 100 on us. Coach Day was a little pissed off at Jimmy. But, it is what it is. We just need them to put up points, which brings me to the next point. Don Brown can really dial up the pressure. We know he's not going to change, which is fine. But the offense has to put up some points. That's just college football. You need big plays, lots of scoring. I mean, even the NFL is turning like that. Look at the Seahawks. Pete Carroll, defensive guy, likes to run the ball. Slowly changing. I mean, granted, he's got Russell Wilson, MVP candidate pretty much every year. Very fun to watch, smart with the ball. But, they're passing now. They're passing a lot, putting the ball in the playmaker's hands, letting Russ do his thing, letting Russ cook. And if Pete Carroll can change his defensive philosophies or just his coaching philosophies, Harbaugh can too, which he has been these last couple of years, and just made coaching changes. Um, and that's just what you have to do. You have to adapt to the game. The offense is at such an advantage now, and with pass interference, just everything, pick routes, becoming more acceptable. So you got to be able to put up points. We can't have a flat offense come out this year. I know it's been a short year, but it is the second year under Gaddis. I think he's going to be a lot better, especially with Milton at quarterback. You just have a lot more options. He can run. Hopefully he can stay in the pocket. I noticed like last year, Shea he'd have a pocket or something, and he just looked timid out there. Would be rolling out, not keeping his eyes down the field, and the linemen played good. You'll see a lot of them. They're playing in the NFL right now. I think at least 3 of our starters from last year are starting. So I don't think it's the Lions' fault. Sometimes they do take some flack, but overall, and like I said, I think Ed Warner is one of the best coaches in the country. He's awesome. So we're going to see how this defensive unit plays. They're young, but I think Don Brown will have these guys ready. I think they kind of know they're on the hot seat, and I don't think anybody wants to win more than Don Brown or Jim Harbaugh or Josh Gaddis. And I'm really rooting for Gaddis. I like the energy he brings. He's a little younger guy. He's up with the times, and if Milton has a big year, we'll start bringing in some big time recruits, get some more weapons, and not looking too far ahead, but it's wishful thinking because I think Joe Milton is going to be good. It's just a matter of time and some reps. So if he's shaky this year, I can live with him throwing the ball around, maybe having some turnovers here and there, but he's being aggressive and not timid. I can live with that, because he hasn't really played in a lot of games. You caught glimpses like he threw that touchdown pass against, it is Rutgers, but he threw that long touchdown pass to, I think it was Giles Jackson or Sandra Still. I can't remember who it was, but you just see it, just effortless, just flick of the wrist, it's flying. So it is what it is. So let's be patient with them. Let's not hate on the guy. Michigan fans are always hating on the quarterback, just hating on these kids. We can't be doing that. We need to support them, live or die by them. So tonight, 7:30, huge game, a cold one. We're going to see what this team is made from. So go blue. I am out. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.